was the first, and for a time only, Continental Congressman from Georgia? Hi Founder fans, Jason here, and today's founder is a man named Lyman Hall. Now Lyman Hall was not from Georgia, he actually grew up in Connecticut, where for a while he was a preacher, but he left the pulpit to study medicine. And then at 33 years old, he packed up his family and moved south to South Carolina. Not from Georgia yet, but it was while he was in South Carolina that he became friendly with many other expatriates from the north who had moved south. And they decided to go even farther south, and finally Lyman Hall finds himself moving to Georgia. And it was in Georgia that these people founded the town of Sunbury, which was in St. John's Parish, a county in Georgia. Now when the revolution approached, Georgia was very slow to take on the revolutionary sentiment. In fact, Georgia did not send a representative to the First Continental Congress. There were only 12 colonies at the First Continental Congress. Georgia was not there. But as the Second Continental Congress approached, and word arrived that it looked like the Continental Congress was going to stop trading with and boycott other colonies who did not join their cause, well, the people of Sunbury, who, again, were from the North and had family and friends in the North and were still attached to the North, they decided it was time to take action. And even though Georgia wasn't going to send any representatives to the Continental Congress, they decided to elect their own. And they elected Lyman Hall. And Lyman Hall went up north to Philadelphia with a bunch of bushels of yummy Georgia rice as a gift. And he arrived, and, well, the Continental Congress did not know if they could accept him because, well, he was the only guy allegedly speaking on behalf of the entire colony of Georgia, and this was a little bit iffy. Now, there was precedent for this. Henry Wisner from Orange County, New York, and William Floyd from Suffolk County, New York, were examples of people who were elected directly by their county to attend the Continental Congress. But still, there were several people from New York, and at this time, each colony only got one vote, that all the delegates would vote, and they would choose to vote one time in the Continental Congress. When Lyman Hall shows up, and he's the only guy from Georgia, well, could we accept his one vote? And the Continental Congress decided yes. For several reasons, they said, you know what, we really want Georgia on board, we'll accept this guy. And he became the only representative from Georgia. And what's very interesting about this is there were several committees in the Continental Congress that had one person from each colony on the committee. And therefore, Lyman Hall had to serve on all of these committees because he was the only Georgia representative. Now, finally, Georgia comes along and decides to join the cause, and they send Button Gwinnett and George Walton up to also be representatives of that colony, and those three men, along with Lyman Hall, did support independence, and they all three would sign the Declaration of Independence. Lyman Hall was a signer of the Declaration of Independence. Now, from there, Hall actually moved his family back to Connecticut for a while because Georgia was being invaded by the British, and his property would actually be destroyed by the British, but after the war was over, he relocated back to Savannah and quickly became a leader. In fact, by 1783, he was elected governor of Georgia, and he spent 1 year as governor of Georgia, and this was a time where the state was recovering from the war effort. And on top of that, probably his most notable contribution was Lyman Hall signed the commission that created the University of Georgia. And the University of Georgia is still around, and it's still I would say fabulous institution. As someone who's never been there, I will just assume it is a great place to go. So, that is in brief the story of Lyman Hall, and I really hope I inspired you to look up more about Lyman Hall or Georgia's really interesting place in the American Revolution. If you do, please hit like, because I enjoyed making it for you. I hope you got this far and liked the video. Definitely hit like, and if you're new here, subscribe. I talk about founders 5 days a week, and on Saturdays, aka tomorrow, I do a live video at 3 o'clock where we discuss the last 7 articles I wrote for my website, Founder of the Day. So I really hope you can join me, and I look forward to bringing you another Founder on Monday.